Well, welcome to the fun and mentals of real estate. We're here in our organizational series with Michelle Perry, a financial advisor from Triad Financial. I am your host, Angela Dillmon, here at Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield, and this is my wealth building partner,
Glen Calvin with Guild Mortgage.
And we're here to help you build wealth, live your dream lifestyle.
And important today, leave legacies that matter.
Oh, yeah, leave legacies
today,
that matter.
we talked a lot about being organized in the previous podcast, and I think that was more geared toward younger people.
Yeah.
I would say this one would be more getting organized later in your life. And you brought up so many good points, so many things that I didn't even consider. And the one of them that's just sticking in my mind is we used to say that all this paperwork will eventually come in the mail. Now everybody's gone paperless.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So when, these topics, a lot of times people just haven't talked about. We did not talk about these things with my parents. We didn't talk about money, but we also didn't talk about how to prepare for just being older in life, where you might be incapacitated or just get tired of paying your own bills. You want someone else to do it, right? Or you're hit by a truck,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Or God forbid, you're just no longer around. So there are things in life that we just never really talked about. They were just like taboo. It just didn't come up a lot. And believe it or not, Michelle Perry here at Triad has a book to help you called The Power of Preparation.
Such a cool book. We're working on it now.
We started talking about that last
Yeah.
week with organizing your money, but now we're going to organize more than just money, aren't we?
Yeah.
So tell me what we're going to organize.
So like you said, there's all the important documents that you have in your life. They're all over the place, right? Oftentimes you have a trust in the safe if you have one. You do open enrollment if you're still working, and you print it out. It says print it out at the end of the day.
Meaning like medical?
Yeah, it has your medical, life insurance benefits, vision, dental, medical, short-term disability, long-term disability, and you throw it somewhere, car insurance, house insurance, homeowners insurance, and they're all over the place, right? So what if somebody had to step into your life, or you get hospitalized, and let's say you fortunately do have a medical power of attorney? Who is that person, and how long is it going to take them to get that power of attorney to the hospital for you? If they had to step into your life and pay your bills, how could they get into your bank account? Do they have the authority to pay your bills for you? You may not want that to be an ongoing thing, but if it's triggered and it needs to happen, can they do it? And do they know where to find it?
Do they know where to find it? So I had this happen with my mom. She's no longer with us now, but she got to the point where I really needed a power of attorney. She really couldn't pay her own bills anymore. She couldn't talk to utility companies anymore. She couldn't talk to doctors or make doctor appointments anymore. So we were fortunate enough to be able to get the power of attorney just in the nick of time when we needed it, and some medical directive. And if I didn't have a recorded written power of attorney, which is, by the way, only good while they're alive, not good after. If I didn't have that document, I couldn't even talk to utility companies. I couldn't cancel things. I would call. She had a furnace, like an HVAC guy, to come out all the time. I had to send my power of attorney. But just to get the electric changed, I couldn't talk to the electric company with power of attorney. So you'd be surprised at how difficult it becomes very quickly.
And we want to say that this is awkward, this is uncomfortable. It's not near the hassle when you're of sound mind, when you're alive.
Right.
It's such a bigger mess if you put this off. And
Right.
Michelle, you had a good point about having these conversations. They can have a ripple effect, can't they?
They can, and that's why I am the sandwich generation. I lost my dad. My mom is still in good health and she's competent, but making everybody get all the documents, right? So, we take care of my mom, my husband's mom, and my husband's stepmom. So we've got our hands full in that, but we have grown children that also contribute. So I'm very grateful.
That's nice.
But
That's great.
when we get our stuff done, then we share that we've done that, and then it's contagious, right? So we can kind of say, to the older generation, we're doing it, so we need you to do it.
You mean the older generation needs a little kick in their rear end, a little push?
It is, because that generation didn't talk about
didn't.
this proactively, so
No.
we just have to kind of share that we're doing this, and so we need you to do the same thing. And then the younger generation, I'm like, hey, we got our stuff, and you are now my power of attorney,
Right.
And it's easier to say, hey, I picked this kid because I think they're better at this or this. why don't we just have that conversation? Would you like to? Are you comfortable? And then let them, step up and say, I'm willing to. That's an easier conversation than if they find out and then they think mom or dad like us better or not.
Then there's that.
It's so much these days, and all these people are encouraging you to go paperless. Go paperless. We're not going to send you that statement. So your advice is to print these out, have them in a spot, have passwords. So what are all the stuff? It's almost overwhelming, and I'm glad you put it down in a book. But just more of the stuff that we need to have organized and prepared in case something would happen to us.
Yeah. So this one says 25 documents. So there's a lot to go over. But subscriptions, passwords. If you're tech savvy, you might have a password vault or password manager. There's many of them out there. LastPass, Dashlane, Norton Keeper, 1Password. You have to do your homework. I don't endorse any of them, but there are many of them out there, and they change all the time which ones rank best. So
if you're older, you talk to a youngin', get one of these programs, and get all the passwords in it.
Or there's like the old address book, right? You can put them ABCDE, like Amazon. What's your password and username?
And make sure you have somebody you trust that has that information in case somebody would have to.
Even the code you just open your phone these days.
Yes, very important. That's
wow.
For everything else.
I don't even know my husband's code to open his phone. So
I say
nobody even knows phone numbers anymore.
Right. I don't even remember phone numbers anymore.
My daughter called me because she left her phone at my mom's house, and she said, well, "What's your mom's phone number?" Because all she knew was to call Grammy. That was her.
Grammy.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So the mortality rate we know is 100%.
Oh, thanks. We're just having a lot of fun
Everybody
today.
dies,
I'm sorry. It's very mental today.
Well, you know what? It's something that needs to be talked about because we've all seen families ripped apart by this.
That's true.
And the ones that aren't are the ones where it's clear and this is what's said and this is how it's distributed.
Right.
This is access to all that stuff.
Right.
And it's just going to give you confidence and just that peace of mind.
Oh, it's so much easier. So, I mean, even your pets, right? They might be on medication. They might have a groomer. They might have a certain place that you take them that you kennel them.
Right.
Or maybe a certain dog sitter that comes over.
And even before that, like you said, who are those people? So who
are those people?
I have a bubble list. Like who's in your church bubble? Who's in your hobby bubble? Do you play in a band? Do you play sports? Who are those people that we need to reach out to in a time of crisis? Or who wants to, who needs to be notified? Like when my dad's celebration of life, there was a person who showed up and he found out through people, and I would have never invited that person because we didn't know who they were. So, who is that bubble around you that we might not know, that we would feel bad if we didn't invite you?
There was a website you told us about. I'm trying to think. It's your problem now. I'm dead.
Oh, so, I get one out, but there are life kits available.
Life kits. So what would be in a life kit?
All these things.
All
these things are different, but there is one on Amazon called "It's Your Problem Now Because I'm Dead." So I put a little levity in it.
And a lot of people don't realize if a parent passes and they have a mortgage, they think that's got to be paid off immediately, or the bank's going to come and foreclose.
Do they?
No, as long as you make that payment, the bank is happy to keep it going. And there's actually a way.
Do I have to notify the bank?
You should notify them, but you don't have to. Mm-hmm. But there's also a way you can assume that loan too. You don't have to refinance it.
What's the benefit of assuming if I don't have to tell
them? It just puts it in your name. You can deduct the interest.
I see.
You're going to be better communication.
Especially if it was like a 2.5% interest rate.
Right.
Now it's a 6.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's called a qualified assumption, and almost all lenders do it.
So you don't have to. You just keep making the payment. You can keep that house in the family if you want, or keep it for a year, or whatever it is.
So we talked about how important it is to have a living will, a trust, because if you don't have that directive, and I think we talked about this in a previous podcast, but you don't want to judge making those decisions for you. If it goes to probate because you don't have any kind of directive, it's going to eat up a lot of equity. It's going to eat up a lot of expense. Yeah. And all of this stuff, not only causing family chaos and turmoil and unhappiness, it's also going to cost you a lot of money if you don't have all this stuff set up. It does.
And a lot of people think, again, that a will keeps you out of probate, but it is not. If your house is in a trust or you have a beneficiary deed, that will keep you out of probate. Beneficiary deed's really easy to do. It doesn't cost a lot. We can help you with that. You can just reach out and say, I'd like to put a beneficiary deed. If something happens to me, it automatically then goes to your heirs, whoever it is you choose, one or more. So it's just a simple instrument called the beneficiary deed. We go get your vesting deed from the last time that you bought the house, so the attorney can just use that to prepare it. You sign it in front of a notary, you record it, boom, it's there for all to see. It's a public record. And by the way, those are not good unless you record them.
Yeah, I've come across that before too.
While someone is alive who is the one executing the instrument. So I'm just saying that.
So Michelle, do you find people hesitant to do this?
I think it's just awareness, and we talked last, podcast about habit, right? So again, put it on the calendar, make time to do it. If you spend 1 to 2 hours, you're probably going to get through this kit. It doesn't take a lot of time, especially if you have two people. One person looks up, where's my car insurance? The other person puts it in the book. One person print out my open enrollment pages, throw it in the book, whatever those pages walk you through. It's just really, seeking the information. And then the habit is every year when you do your taxes, update the book. It's just maintaining it. Put it on the
nice little system. While you're at all that paperwork, you may as well update your book.
And I think you come full circle too. So now that I'm older, I'm looking at retirement. I'm not looking at retirement, but for that person, I got to think about budgeting too, don't I?
Again, the cost of living doubles every 20 years. This is one of the reasons you want to talk to a financial advisor like Michelle, because you have your house. And you may be able, we'll talk next week a little bit about maybe downsizing or resizing and things like that. And what do you do for you, like how do you prepare yourself for your final phase of life, right? And, or maybe even help your parents do that. But a big part of that is talking to a financial advisor about how you can do that financially, right? So, we'll talk about that.
I'm learning so much with this. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Michelle, and join us next week when we talk about more about organizing into your final phase of life. I'm your host here, Angela Dillmon. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.